So I've been doing a lot of reactions lately to a full first round mock draft from different sources. Today I'm gonna get my first round mock draft. Full first round mock draft. Today, so we're gonna do all 32 teams today. So instead of just doing the Bengals, we're doing all 32 teams. So let's get right into it. Starting off right away, I think this is very obvious. The first pick overall is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be Caleb Williams out of USC. I think this is all but guaranteed at this point. So, think of anyone else, I would probably say you're wrong. So, Caleb Williams, number one. Number two, this is when things get a little interesting, is the Commanders pick and the Patriots pick. Because the Commanders could easily they're going to take a quarterback, obviously, but they could take Drake May, Jaden Daniels. There are now rumors of J.J. McCarthy going number two. I don't think this is really, in my opinion, that hard of a decision. Now, again, it's just my personal opinion. J.J. McCarthy, he comes from a run-heavy offense in Michigan. It would be lucky for him to throw the ball 30 times a game. It was very rare he would ever throw the ball 30 times a game versus Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and Caleb Williams, who would throw the ball a crap ton. So we don't know how much J.J. McCarthy will transition from a run-heavy offense in Michigan to a pass-heavy offense in the NFL. But I think the number two quarterback is Drake May, and if it wasn't for the fact Caleb Williams was in this draft class, Drake May would be the best quarterback in this draft class, period. I love Drake May. I think he has a lot of upside, and I think he can be really good in the NFL. Number three is the Patriots, and I think this is most likely Jaden Daniels. I don't love the situation for Jaden Daniels going to the Patriots, but listen, at the end of the day, it is what it is. The guy is going to go to the situation where the team needs a quarterback, and you got Gerard Mayo there now, so he did come out publicly and say it's not 100% they're going to take a quarterback at 3, but you can't really believe anything that a head coach says at this time period because it's all smoke and mirrors, right? It's right before the draft. Coaches say everything just to get people not to select certain players. It is what it is. Number 4, Arizona Cardinals. In my opinion, I think this is pretty locked in. Unless they trade out of this pick, which is very possible. I'm not doing trades in this, but there are teams that could trade up for this pick. The Raiders have been talked about of potentially trading up for maybe J.J. McCarthy. You also have the Vikings, another team that could trade up for this pick as well. They got a little extra, draft picks so that they could potentially trade up. So that's always a possibility. I'm not doing trades in this one. I'll do a future one where I do trades, but I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. I think this is the best pick for Kyler Murray to really start to build around him and get this, team going in Arizona. Now, if you're the Chargers, you have one of two options available. Option one is Joe Walt and go with, the trenches. Build around protect Justin Herbert, which is something they really do need to do. Option 2 is go wide receiver. Option 3 is go tight end. Now, I think it's a little bit too early to go with tight end. I think Daniel Jeremiah did a really great job of explaining this in one of the videos I covered, I think it was about a month ago, how the reason why teams will not go with tight end inside the top 10 is because of the fact of how much the rookie contract costs for a tight end player. So, for example, when you draft a player in the first round, the whole idea is you're getting them on a rookie deal. A rookie deal is going to help out your salary cap, help out your team, and be able to avoid, having to pay a crazy amount for a player. So, for example, having a quarterback on a rookie deal, let's say, for example, he's sitting at, I think rookie, let's say Caleb Williams, right? I believe his first year, he's going to be probably like around $6-7 million, which you compare that to, $55 million, and that looks a lot better. Even his last year, which is going to be the most money, that's still going to be around I think 12 or 13 million that year, which again is a lot better than 55 million. For example, T. Higgins last year was on last year's rookie contract. He was making last year he was making $4 million last year on his rookie contract. Compare that to I don't know, Tyreek Hill making $30 million. So that's why teams take, the first round is so important because you want to get that player at a really good player at a position you need for very cheap. And then for the next 4 years, you don't have to worry about paying him. So again, that's why, tight end, well, it's great, but if you're drafting a tight end top 10, you're going to be paying him $7 million. The best tight ends in the league make anywhere from 10 to 12 million. So paying a tight end $7 million means after their rookie contract, you're going to have to pay them a new contract, and they're going to want, the top tight end money. So it's not logical, so it's reasonable to do that. Number 5 here is going to be interesting. Now, Malik Neighbors, I believe, is the second best receiver in this draft. Problem is, recently it came out that he got arrested. He got arrested for possession of a firearm that wasn't legally owned by him. The charges were later dropped, so that is something to take into consideration. But now there's some questionable concerns about his character. Now, he is an amazing wide receiver. Do I think this is really going to change anything when it comes to the Chargers drafting him or not? No. But I think that is something to take in consideration. That the charges were dropped, though, so that's, obviously, again, you're innocent until proven guilty. I think they go with Malik Neighbors here, and they build around Justin Herbert. Now the Giants are on the clock. I think that they go with Rome Odunze. Titans on the clock, they go Joe Alt. Falcons are an interesting team here because they could go with a couple different options. First off, they could go with Brock Bowers. Now, I know, again, keep in mind, they do have Kyle Pitts, and they just got rid of Jonnu Smith, which was the vulture for fantasy football owners of Kyle Pitts, because Jonnu Smith kept getting receptions. Now, if you're the Falcons, you just get Kirk Cousins, you got Drake London, and you got Darnell Mooney as well. You get yourself a generational talent in Brock Bowers. Now we're talking about some good things going on here. But I think that the best option for the Falcons, and one I'm going with here, is actually Byron Murphy II out of Texas. I think he'd be a great defensive line option for them. They need to work on their defense. They just worked on the offense this offseason. Why not, perfect that defense? Now, the Bears are on the clock here. And, there's a lot of different options I like for the Bears here. You know what? I'm going to go with... See, I have some ideas. One idea I have is going edge rusher, because I think it could help them out a crap ton. Help out that defense. Make that defense, even better. You could go wide receiver here. I don't know if I love going Brian Thomas Jr. this early, but he is a great wide receiver. You get Caleb Williams. You know what? I'm going Brian Thomas Jr. He is an amazing wide receiver, and he had a great combine, so he is going up draft boards. Making him top 10, I think, is a little bit of a reach to a certain degree, but I don't think that it's that bad of a pick. Next guy we have here is the Jets. I'm going to have them go offensive lineman. I know they just got Morgan Moses from the Ravens. They also just got Tyron Smith from the Cowboys. But the problem is, Tyron Smith, he's hurt. He always gets hurt. So you need to have someone as a backup. Tyron Smith also is older, so you want someone for the future. This is where you could go with an offensive tackle here. You could go with my man here from Oregon State. By the way, I also found out recently his name's not Fuaga. I did not see what his name actually was, but I learned that this is not actually his name, Fuaga. But anyway, this is going to be an interesting pick. So... See, this is interesting, because you could go tight end Brock Bowers, right? That's definitely an option here. Give Aaron Rodgers a star tight end, generational tight end, obviously for the future of the next 2 years. You could go with, and I'm going tackle. I don't really, let's go with the guy from Oregon State here. I think that's probably the best option. Future here, you could also move him to guard, kind of move him inside. I think that's a good option. Now the Vikings are up. Again, I think that there will be a trade up, and JJ McCarthy will go way before this, excuse me. But I think that this is probably the best option for the Vikings here. They need a quarterback of the future. They need to work, figure something out. And JJ McCarthy still being on the board is almost like a match made in heaven for them. And also, it destroys the Broncos' happiness. Because Sean Payton wants JJ McCarthy so freaking bad. But guess what, Sean? You don't get JJ McCarthy. So now you're the Broncos, and what do? Because you couldn't get JJ McCarthy. Now it's like, well, we got to figure something out. And I think the best pick for them, I'm actually going to go with, I know it's kind of crazy to say this, Cooper DeJean. Listen and hear me out here. They just lost Justin Simmons, right? Because he costs too much, he hit free agency, whatever. Cooper DeJean, while yes, he does have some injury concerns, and he is a corner, but I think eventually he will move to safety. And I think when he moves to safety, he will be like a Harrison Smith type of player. And I think that's exactly what Denver needs. You lose Justin Simmons, you now have a guy that can play corner and also play safety. I think that could help them out drastically. Now, the second corner off the board, I think, is going to be Teron Arnold, and I think he will go to the Raiders here at pick 13. Pick 14, we have the New Orleans Saints on the clock. I think this is pretty obvious. They're going offense tackle here, especially with the fact that, they need a tackle. They need to protect Drew Brees. It's weird. Drew Brees. Derek Carr. Very different quarterbacks, actually. Very different quarterbacks. I have them taking Troy from Washington Huskies here. Colts on the clock now. I actually think that they could go wide receiver. It's very possible. That's definitely something they need. But with Quinton Mitchell still on the clock, I think this is a place where they could go with Quinton Mitchell here at pick 15. Pick 16, we had the Seattle Seahawks on the clock. Ooh. So they do got Noah Fant, and I think Brock Bowers could be a really good option for them. Yeah. Now I'm thinking. It could go edge. How about their defense even more? And you got some really good options on the table right now as edge. I'm going with Latu. And here is where I think things are going to just absolutely royally mess up the Bengals here. Because you got the Jags on the clock, okay? Listen, Evan Ingram, great tight end for them, but Brock Bowers is a generational talent. You get him with Trevor Lawrence, and I think that gives them the best bet possible. And I think at this moment in time, I think the Jags are about to become public enemy number one for us. Because every other option available, I think, Dallas Turner's great, Jared Verse is great. But I think it's Brock Bowers. I think Jags go Brock Bowers here, and I think it would break all hearts in Cincinnati. But I think that that's going to be the pick here by the Jaguars. It could also be the Colts that take him or the Seahawks to take him. I don't think the Seahawks take him, but I think the Jags are going to be the team that takes him here. And it's going to really break my heart that he goes one pick before us. And listen, at the end of the day, I know he's not the best pick for us long-term option-wise. You got to protect Joe Burrow. But, man, you can't not want Brock Bowers. Come on now. Anyway, though, now we're on the clock. And I think that we're going to take J.C. Latham out of Alabama here. I think that is the best option. Right tackle for the future to sit behind Trent Brown and to eventually become our starting right tackle and our franchise right tackle and help out finishing off this offensive line. Now, the LA Rams are on the clock. I think they go with Penn State offensive tackle. Steelers on the clock. I think they go Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon. Dolphins on the clock. I think that they go with Johnny Newton from Illinois. Eagles on the clock. could see them going with... Why are we going with Nate Wiggins? Now the Vikings are back on the clock. This could be a situation where, okay, so they got J.J. McCarthy with their first round pick. Could work on the defense a little bit. I'm going to go with edge rusher Dallas Turner. Cowboys on the clock. I think that they go with Amarius Mims. Packers on the clock now. This is where you could go safety. It's very possible. This draft class is not really great for safety. That's definitely a big problem here. But I think you could also go with Graham Barton. They lost David Bakhtiari this offseason. So going with a guy who could play tackle, but also really, honestly, his position is guard. That's probably where you're going to move Barton to, is guard. I think that could be a really good option for them. I'm going Jared Verse to the Buccaneers. I think that the Arizona Cardinals here are going to go with... I'll have them go with Mitchell. Which actually going to be interesting. 2 wide receivers in the first round for Kyler. Kyler is going to be tickled pink if that happens. And also, it's going to royally mess over the Bills, who also are going to want a wide receiver here. And I'm going to have them take Ladd McConkey. Then you have the Lions on the clock. I'm going to have them take Kool-Aid. Ravens are currently on the clock. I'm going to have them take... honestly, they probably would go... Okay, so here's what I feel like the Ravens. Troy Franklin is very possible, right? Could go wide receiver. Could go corner. Or offensive line, maybe. Zach Frazier, but you would have to move him to guard because you're not going to put him at center because you have Tyler Linderbaum. So you could go with him and move him to guard, and that fixes your problem with either Josh Simpson or fixes your problem with Andrew Voorhees. But I think they're going to want to try out Andrew Voorhees and see how good he can play. And I think, Josh Simpson left. Josh Simpson went to... I forget what team he went to. But they had Ben Cleveland. I meant to say Ben Cleveland. I apologize. Ben Cleveland is the right guard. Left guard is Andrew Voorhees. So I think that fixes your problem with Ben Cleveland, which I don't think he was really that good. So, maybe you could go corner here if you're Ravens. You lost Ronald Darby. You also lost Rocky Sin this offseason. You also lost Geno Stone. Could go corner. Or you could go wide receiver. You lost Odell Beckham. It's not that big of a deal. But I think, honestly, yeah, I'm probably going to go with corner here. And it's probably between one of these 3 guys. Every team would love to have a player like he brings this great skill set and mentality to a starting slot corner. Oh, a slot corner. Isn't that... I believe that's Brandon Stevens' role. You got Marlon Humphrey. You got... I think it's either Brandon Stevens or it's Arthur Mullet, who is slot corner for them. I could be incorrect. Fluidity and size, quarterback top fit if he can clean up his footwork. Yeah, I probably would go with, if I'm being honest here, I think all 3 of these options are good. But I think this guy, I like Kamari the best. I'm going Kamari for them. 49ers on the clock here. I think that this is where we could see Tyler Guyton go. And then now the Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock. I think they go at Ryan Ranko. No, I'm just kidding, Chiefs. Nah, Chiefs, especially with the most recent news of coming out about Rashee Rice, I think they go wide receiver. And they just kind of, replenish that position. So, guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. That's my 32-round, first round mock draft. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.